After a huge bullish break, it is finally happening for Bitcoin. We are seeing a very bullish retest on the 4-hour time frame, and this is looking very good. Bitcoin is pumping back above the $58,000 and this is looking very bullish. In this video I will discuss different formations for you for Bitcoin, and I will have a look on several time frames. I will also have a look at the two altcoins Vechain and Injective, but about that later in the video. There's also a lot of interesting data coming into the market, and yesterday we also saw the CPI numbers coming in, which I will discuss with you in this video. So watch this video all the way to the end, like this video, and let's dive right into the charts. Earlier this week I was discussing this huge resistance trend line for Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, and that we saw a beautiful bullish break. And after that I was discussing with you that we could potentially see a bullish retest. So the previous resistance is going to be turned into support, and this is exactly what we saw. So this was a very interesting place to enter the market in the long for Bitcoin, and from here you could have made some nice gains to the top side because we are seeing a huge bounce from this level, and from the point of retest you could have made an interesting gain of almost 4%. So that is insane to make, especially when you trade leverage. So this is looking a little bit more bullish than bearish, and we can see it somehow of a little bit of a trend reversal already happening for Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. So let's see if Bitcoin can also create a higher high, a higher low, and from here a new higher high, and that would indicate a big trend reversal for Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. And we also need that trend reversal to see on the daily time frame, of course. And if we have a look on the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin bounced all the way to this huge horizontal level, and this support was holding strong once again. And we also pumped above the first big resistance level around the $56,000, and we saw a nice pump above it. We also came back, retested this previous resistance as support, and this support was holding strong as we saw yesterday. And now we are seeing more topside, and we are coming back to this huge resistance area, and this next big resistance area will be around the $58,000. So this will be the first big resistance for Bitcoin to break if we want to see more bullish continuation, of course. And if we're going to see a break of this level, I expect that we're going to see a retest of this resistance to turn it into support, and from there we can come back to the next big resistance, and that will be around the 60.5k. So this could be the very bullish scenario for Bitcoin, but for now we have to first break this big resistance around the $58,000. So this horizontal level is the first big resistance for Bitcoin to break, and we could potentially see a break today. And we are now seeing a little bit of a rejection already coming into this market. So we can expect a lot more price action around this level. So let's see what Bitcoin can do in this day, and if we're going to see a break or are we going to see a rejection. And yesterday the Bitcoin ETFs had another bearish day. We saw an outflow of almost $44 million. So that is a little bit more bearish, of course. We can see BlackRock didn't buy or sell any, but the ARK Bitcoin ETF is selling like crazy. They sold for $54 million, and that's the reason why we saw a bearish day. So we are seeing a bit of a bearish day after 2 consecutive days of inflow. So let's see if today we can turn things around. And of course, when we are seeing more inflows, this will have a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin. And if we're looking at the Ethereum ETF, we saw a very neutral day actually, because we didn't saw too many outflows or inflows. And we saw 500,000 of outflows. So it was a little bit more of a bearish day. If the Ethereum ETFs are going to buy, and I think we will see more buying pressure in the coming end of this year, I believe that the price of Ethereum will also surge. And we are currently at the 2.3k, and I believe that Ethereum will see levels around the 5k later this year. And if we have a look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see this huge horizontal level is coming into play, and we saw a lot of price interactions here in the past at this huge level. And we are seeing a lot of resistance and support coming into the market. And yesterday I talked about this pattern as well. And now we can see we made a bit of a bounce, and we're trying to break this huge horizontal level. But I want to see a clear gain of this level, a retest of this level to turn this into support again. And from there we can aim for higher targets. So this, as I was saying, this is the first big resistance level for Bitcoin to break. And we can see a little bit of a break already, but this is not looking very bullish. And I want to see a more bullish break of this level. So if we're going to gain this level, then Bitcoin can create more topside, create a higher low. And from there we can also create a new higher high. And that would indicate a big trend reversal. And as we can see in the last weeks, we were in this huge downtrend. So let's see if Bitcoin can turn things around and that would of course be very bullish. And yesterday there was also a lot of bullish news coming in, and one of the most bullish news was that UK introduces a bill to officially and legalize recognize cryptocurrency as personal property. And this was pushing the price of Bitcoin very beautifully, because we saw a beautiful bounce from the $56,000 all the way to the $58,000. So this is looking very bullish for Bitcoin and crypto in general. So a lot of countries are embracing Bitcoin and crypto. So let's see if the whole world is going to be embracing Bitcoin, and that of course would have a very bullish effect on the markets. Another very interesting chart I want to have a look at on a daily time frame is this huge consolidation formation. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance, and also a lot of touch points on the lower side as support. And every time we touch this lower side support, we saw a nice bounce to the top side. And currently, last week, we also came back to this huge support on the lower side, and we are now seeing a huge, beautiful bounce. So let's see if Bitcoin can create more bullish price action, and eventually we want to come back to this huge resistance. And of course, at this resistance level, we could expect a little bit of price interaction, and we could potentially see the bearish move play out, so that we're going to see a big rejection again. But of course, we all want to see this bullish break, and if we're going to see a break, then we want to see a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and from there we can aim for higher targets. And then the top side of this formation will be confluent with the breakout target, and that will be around the $68,000. So for now, Bitcoin is still in this consolidation formation with this downtrend, and we want to see a big trend reversal for Bitcoin happening. So we want to see a breakout and then some exponential move to the top side. And yesterday the CPI numbers came in, and the forecasted CPI number was 2.5%, and the actual came in as 2.5%, and the previous number was at 2.9%. So we're coming down and inflation is coming down, and that is beautiful to see. Just like we saw here, we saw a lot of inflation earlier this year, but we're now coming down. And we can see the next FOMC meeting will be in 6 days, and this will be on the September 18th. And we can see that we are having an 87% rate cut probability over 25% basis points, and we are getting 100% a rate cut, but we don't know yet if we're going to see a 25% basis point rate cut or a 50 point basis rate cut. And this will have a lot of interesting price effect on the markets. Also for the stock market, because a lot of liquidity is coming into the market, and this will pump up the price of assets, just like Bitcoin and stocks. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Vechain. We can see that Vechain was currently coming back to this huge support area on the lower side, and we're now seeing a bit of a bounce. We even fell below it, but this is looking like a nice V-shaped recovery. And we can see that Vechain is also in this huge falling wedge formation to the downside. We can see a lot of touch points on the top side as resistance, and on the downside we can see a lot of touch points as support. And eventually I believe this formation will break bullish, because this formation is a downward sloping formation, and I think we will see a big trend reversal for Vechain happening soon. So if we're going to see a break to the top side, I want to see a clear break of this level, and then we're going to see a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support, and from there we can aim for higher targets. And then of course we have a lot of very interesting horizontal levels coming into play for Vechain, and these are the levels to break for Vechain in the first place. So let's see if Vechain can break bullish out of this huge consolidation formation. And if we're going to see that move, then the breakout target of this formation will be the top side of the formation, and that will be around the 5 cents. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Injective protocol. We can see Injective is currently in this huge falling wedge formation to the downside. We can see a lot of touch points here on the lower side and on the top side, and this price is getting squeezed into this apex. And eventually I believe that this pattern will break bullish, because this is a bullish bias pattern. So I believe Injective will see a break of this huge resistance line, and we are going to see a bullish break. So after we are going to break bullish, I believe we're going to see a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and from there we can aim for higher targets. And if we break out, the top side of this formation will be the breakout target, and that will be around the $31. And the $31 is also confluent with a lot of interesting resistance and support, so this would be a very good take profit place. And as we can see in the past, we can see a lot of price interactions around the $31. So if we're going to see a bullish break, this would be a very interesting place to take some profits. If we're going to see a break and we come all the way back to this huge $31 area, then we are going to see a gain from the breakout of 51%. So that is also a very interesting place to take some profits. Please give a like if you find this video useful. Don't forget to follow me on my other socials. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.